UFC 309. Jones taking on Stipe Miocic. Co-main event. Michael Chandler taking on Charles Oliveira. Before that, we have Bo Nickal taking on Paul Craig. Finally, we have a big banger UFC back in our lives. Well, I'm going to go with... Boom, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Final Predictions of UFC 309. Okay, now let's go down to the fight that we are going to be keeping our eyes close to. Bo Nickal, a rising star, undefeated, absolute standout wrestler, taking on a dangerous submission artist, Paul Craig, somebody who has beaten a former champion, Jamal Hill. He broke Jamal Hill's arm. Can you guys believe that? But let's talk about what these gentlemen do very well. Now, let's talk about Paul Craig. Now, Paul Craig is the more experienced athlete in mixed martial arts. Obviously, he's been in the game a lot longer. He is on a 2-fight losing streak going into this fight against a very dangerous, undefeated athlete in Bo Nickal. But we know Paul Craig has the advantage on the ground with his submission game. He's competing in Abu Dhabi. He's competing in a lot of jiu-jitsu tournaments. And Bo Nickal has too. He's won against one of the greatest of all time, Gordon Ryan. Threw Gordon Ryan around like a sack of potatoes until he succumbed to the submission game. But let's look at what does Paul Craig need to do in order to beat Bo Nickal. The key to victories to Paul Craig is use your experience in mixed martial arts. You've been fighting a lot longer than Bo Nickal has. Granted, you haven't as wrestled as much as Bo Nickal, but you have been fighting. So you have to be dynamic. One, take the fight where he doesn't know where you're going to be able to take it. Go to your back. Keep it on the feet. Fight in the clinch. You have to mix it up with somebody who is still learning how to fight in mixed martial arts. Bo Nickal, we had him on the Mighty Cast. If you guys have not watched that, go back and listen to it. It was a great Mighty Cast. He talked about how he's taking his time to try to learn everything and get as best as he can. Sometimes when you have an athlete like that who's fighting at the highest level, you put him in a predicament and you take him through the grinder to where it's like, hey, I'm gonna draw the fight out to 2 to 3 rounds to see if your condition is where it needs to be or if you're gonna slip up. So 1, be dynamic. 2, utilize your grappling. That is something that you have above him where, yes, he has a wrestling experience, but he doesn't have the grappling experience that you have. You have submitted bigger men. You've submitted Jamal Hill. You had a nice little setup. You got him and you pop that arm. And you had Jamal Hill look like this. Look at my arm. Okay, so use your grappling. And 3, don't let the 2-fight losing streak affect you. You have nothing to lose. You're already on 2-fight losing streak. Go out there and fight like your job depends on it, which I'm sure you're going to have that mindset already, but that's the key to victory. Bo Nickal has everything to lose because he is undefeated. I'm trying to take his O away from him, and I've already lost twice. I'm on a 2-fight losing streak. Fuck, throw Hail Marys out there. See what happens. So let's see. It's going to be a very tough fight for Paul Craig because he is taking on an undefeated Bo Nickal. Now, let's look at the key to victories that Bo Nickal needs in order to beat Paul Craig. 1, you're undefeated, right? So you have this mystic aura that I remember Anderson Silva, GSP, sometimes shit. Even myself will have this mystic aura around me where it's like, oh my God, I'm fighting Demetrious Johnson. People could probably think the same thing when it comes to, oh, I'm fighting Bo Nickal. Bo Nickal has knocked people out and he's also submitted people. So a key victory for Bo Nickal is use that mystic aura. Go out there and try to be flashy. Keep Paul Craig on his toes, right? You're still new to the game, so we don't know what you've been working on in the lab, right? Maybe go out there and show something that Paul Craig has never seen before. 2, don't abandon your wrestling. Even though Paul Craig is a very great submission artist, do not abandon your wrestling because wrestling beats jiu-jitsu when jiu-jitsu wants to be lazy. Wrestlers, we work hard. We're designed to grind and smash, and typically 9 out of 10 times wrestling beats jiu-jitsu. So do not abandon your wrestling. You wrestle the top of the top around the world. That is going to carry you. This could carry you in the fight if you get in a sticky situation. And 3, have fun. A lot of people got to understand that this is a sport. It is a dangerous game that we play, but sometimes the key to victory is go out there like, hey, I'm doing this to have fun. And that's one of the things that my wrestling coach would tell me when I would get in these very, very tough situations. He goes, dude, have fun. When I compete in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, my coach says, hey, dude, have fun. So a key to victory, a lot of you guys are like,
Demetrious Johnson, how is that a key to victory?
It is a key to victory. If you just go out there and have fun, you'll be amazed at what some athletes can do. Now, who do I have winning against Paul Craig taking on Bo Nickal? Well, there's no surprise. I'm going to go with our man, Bo Nickal. The man is undefeated. After talking to him, I like what he's doing about taking his time in the sport of mixed martial arts. A lot of people, the staff of the Mighty Cast, I'm not going to say any names, they would throw fits that Bo Nickal should be fighting a lot more. But I reminded the staff that, guys, you got to understand, it is up to the athlete to decide when they want to fight. And that puts the athlete in a better position because he gets to compete when he's ready to compete instead of, oh, I need this paycheck. Oh, I need to fight. I need to run it. Bo Nickal doesn't have that. Bo Nickal gets to decide when he wants to fight, and he is deciding to fight Paul Craig at UFC 309. So that is why I'm going with Bo Nickal for the victory over Paul Craig. And with the final predictions, we also have PrizePicks, ladies and gentlemen. Now, PrizePicks is a daily fantasy sports game where you can play directly from your phone. All you gotta do is go to your app store, download PrizePick, and when you do that, make sure you use my promo code MIGHTY. They have a cool promotion going on right now. You play $5, make your picks, and no matter what happens in that lineup, you're gonna win $50. Now, UFC 309 is right around the corner, and let us take a look at the boards where they got going on right now. Bo Nickal landing 13.5 significant strikes. I think you just go with more. I think he's fighting Paul Craig, a person who's very durable. I think that could be a very easy gimme. Bo Nickal does have power in his hand. You go with 13.5. And one of the cool things about PrizePick, it's not always about significant strikes. Let's look at the fight time. Fight time right now. This is also another easy one. Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler. Do you think it's going to get past the very first round? I think it does. I think it might go into the second round like it did the first one. And they fought for the whole 5 minutes. So you know what? I'm going to go with more on that one as well. All right, and here's another easy one. I'm sorry. I'm just going to give you guys all the ones that I'm really liking. Bo Nickal. Do you think it's going to get out of the first round? You know what? I'm going to go ahead and go with more on that one. I like to play, that I think it's going to get out of the first round because they're both good guys. They're both tough. Paul Craig does have an amazing jiu-jitsu background off his back. Beautiful triangles. So I will go with more of that as well. But boys, just make sure you get your picks in at the right place, which is PrizePicks. And lock in for UFC 309 Jones versus Stipe. Now let's go to the co-main event. Michael Chandler taking on Charles Oliveira. Now, this is going to be an absolute banger. I'm actually more excited about this fight than the Jones versus Stipe. I'll tell you why. You know these guys are going to come out here and bang. You know the skill set. You saw the first one. The first one was an absolute banger. I did a breakdown on that, and I was just going, it was probably one of my favorite breakdowns because they are both so skilled, and they both bring that fight. When Charles and Michael Chandler fought the very first time, they both hurt each other. They both rocked each other. Charles Oliveira was able to regain his composure and then come back in the second round and be able to catch Michael Chandler. When he exited the void, he hit with a beautiful left hook. His right hand was up, beautiful left hook, and then that was the downfall of Michael Chandler. Now, Michael Chandler, the last time, we saw him was on the Mighty Cast, obviously. We got a chance to talk to Michael Chandler, and he was able to sit back, relax, miss the sport, re-engage the way he's going to be approaching these fights because he has been fighting for a very long time, and he said this is his last shot to get to that title. He fought Tony Ferguson. He fought Charles Oliveira. He fought Dan Hooker. He fought killers of the division. He's never had an easy fight when he jumped in the UFC. He's never had an easy fight in his whole entire career, taking on guys like Pitbull and Bellator. Now he's had some time off. Now, the question is, how is he going to come back to a nice little layoff? On Instagram, the man's looking shredded. He's looking fit. Mindset's ready to go. I'm excited to see what Michael Chandler could do when he steps in the cage against Charles Oliveira this time. Now, let's take a look at what Charles Oliveira's been doing. He submitted Justin Gaethje. He submitted Dustin Poirier. And he also knocked out Beneil Dariush. He lost that fight to Arman. He's lost his belt. So, Charles Oliveira's kind of had this little up and down, but he's been very active in the time that Michael Chandler has been out. And Charles Oliveira has that dangerous grappler game as well. Now, let's look at the keys to victory for these gentlemen to win this fight. Michael Chandler, 1, be athletic. We were talking about this on the Mighty Cast. Sometimes this gentleman just goes in there and he goes to 110 and 120, and then there is no in between, but typically he kind of slows down. We talked about it in the Mighty Cast. Go in there and use your experience. You've been here before. You fought this gentleman before. Use your experience. Don't go out there and blow your wad. Or as I say, don't go out there and bust your nut that fast. You don't want to get in the bedroom with your wife and just go in there and go, bah, 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 bah. You blow your nut. You want to go in there and just ease into it. Get a nice little rhythm going on there. Maybe back out a little bit, do a little foreplay. I don't know. But they're going there and bust the nut super fast. So ease into it. Ease into the fight. right? That way, if you do end up catching him this time, you might be able to ease in, pass guard, and look to submit him. 2, second key to victory is be dynamic. Last time, sometimes you got to realize when you're fighting Dustin Poirier, you're catching with that right hand over and over and over, and then you kept on, you went to 120 again. Be dynamic. Use your wrestling. Use your kicks. Look for a good entry to get across that void in order to get to Charles Oliveira. And 3, don't make bad mistakes. Don't make bad choices. Meaning, when Charles Oliveira got your back, don't do a big giant jump and land on your back, because he's going to be on your back. Now he has the body triangle and he's able to work things. When you get in a bad situation, assess the situation. Okay, he has my back. He has a body triangle. Okay, I need to put my back against the cage, that way he can carry my weight. Okay, work on this. Once I deal with the arms, then I'm gonna start dealing with the body triangle. Then once I deal with the body triangle, I'll turn and be able to move from there. And then at the end of the day, just be Michael Chandler. I see you at the top. Now let's look at Charles Oliveira. What does Charles Oliveira need to do in order to get the victory over Michael Chandler once again? 1, constant pressure. One of the things that Charles Oliveira does very well is that constant pressure. He walks his opponents down. He walks across the void by using a high guard with the Muay Thai stance, raising his knee, using crisp combinations. Charles Oliveira is so dynamic that sometimes when he's beating somebody on the feet, he will do a double leg takedown just to change it up. You go back and watch his fights, he's done that before. So the first key to victory is walk down Michael Chandler inside of the void. The second key to victory, be careful when you get in a shootout, because when you get in a shootout, yes, that is when you typically drop your opponents. You look at Justin Gaethje, you look at Michael Chandler the first time you guys fought. You look when you fought Dustin Poirier, he was able to drop his opponents, and then when he dropped them, he will follow up and end up submitting them. But when he does that, he typically leaves himself out and exposed where he can get hit as well. So he's got to be careful when he enters the fire. When he enters the fire, be ready to bang and cover and follow up with that. And the third thing, don't be afraid to play off your back. When you do get dropped, if you do get dropped by Michael Chandler, do not be such in a haste to get back to your feet. Take your time, recover off your back, and if he does follow you, which 9 out of 10 times people don't follow you down to your guard, take your time, recompose yourself, get back to your feet. Now, who do I have winning in this co-main event? Charles Oliveira taking on Michael Chandler. Now, this is a very hard one because I like both guys. We've had Michael Chandler on the podcast. I've met him, I believe, one time. I haven't met Charles Oliveira. But when you look at this fight, it's a very interesting fight to call because we don't know who is going to land that big shot, right? Either one of those guys could have won that fight last time. I feel like it's a toss-up. My gut is telling me that Michael Chandler he's taking it 2 years off, and he's going to be able to, if he hurts Charles Oliveira this time, he's going to be able to work his way across the void and lay him out. So for this one, we're going to go with Michael Chandler. Now, boys, let us go to the main event. Finally, GOAT Jon Jones makes it back to the octagon, taking on Stipe Miocic. Now, this is a very interesting fight because you have the heavyweight champion of the world, which is Jon Jones. A lot of people don't even realize that Jon Jones isn't the heavyweight champion because he hasn't been fighting and he hasn't been as active. A lot of people remember Tom Aspinall because he's put more work in the heavyweight division than Jon Jones has. But you have Jon Jones, who is a champ, and then you have this gentleman, Stipe Miocic, who is one of the greatest at heavyweight. But we haven't seen him. The last time everybody has seen Stipe Miocic is when he got knocked out by Francis Ngannou. And a lot of people might have thought Stipe Miocic has retired because he hasn't fought in 3 to 4 years. I can't look, but I'm sure the producer will put it down below to let me know how long he has been inactive in the UFC. Granted, he is a firefighter. He's out there doing something that's way more important than trying to win world title fights, which is save people. So thank you to Stipe Miocic for your service. Now, let us talk about this fight. Jon Jones, who put on the weight to go to the heavyweight division, which I think he can beat a lot of these guys at 225, just a shredded 205. That's my personal opinion. I could be wrong, but I think his skills warrant that he could beat these guys at heavyweight. You saw what he did with Cyril Gane. I did that breakdown. When he caught Cyril Gane in, it was very easy to defend, but it just shows you the lack of knowledge that Cyril had. Now, when I look at this fight with Stipe versus Jon Jones, let's look at the keys to victory for Stipe. One, biggest thing is that, they say ring rust isn't a thing, but I believe ring rust is a thing. So he's got to figure out a way to figure out how to get that ring rust off when he steps in the cage at one of the biggest shows, which is MSG, against one of the best in the world in the sport, against Jon Jones. That's going to be the biggest thing, right? I mean, the guy has seen people die. He's seen all the stuff, but I've never seen an athlete take this much time off going to a big fight like this. 2, use your boxing, right? Make it difficult for Jon Jones to get to you. Right? I know it's going to be harder. It's easier said than done, but make it difficult to get to him. You look when he fought Alexander Gustafsson. Alexander Gustafsson, you did a good job of, mix up the boxing, throwing good long jabs, uppercuts, making it hard for Jon Jones. But then again, Jon Jones was sabotaging himself, going out doing cocaine and having a good time with at the bar. So I don't know how, if that Jon Jones is going to show up to this fight. We see a very motivated Jon Jones showing up to fight Stipe Miocic. So, but make it hard for him to get across the void. Use your boxing and be ready to defend the takedown. You got it. I think I would take the first 2 rounds just to feel out Jon Jones, move around and just get some rhythm and kind of confuse him, right? Confuse Jon Jones, right? And then a third key to victory is after you confuse him after the second round, then start to implement a game plan and fight him in the clinch. Fight Jon Jones in the clinch, make it a wrestling match, and take the fight to Jon Jones. That is one of the things that I loved about when I fought. Even though I was a champion, I love taking the fight to my opponents because they don't expect it. They think I'm going to run, right? When I fought Rodtang, yes, I was moving, but I stood and strike with him, right? When I fought Adriano the second time, I went after him. Everybody I fight, I go after them, right? So when you're fighting Jon Jones, go after him. That's a huge key to victory because if you're like, no, fuck this. Yes, I've been out of the cage for 4 years. I've been saving people, putting fucking fires out. But guess what? I'm coming in. First 2 rounds, I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna break that ring rust off. And guess what? The third round, I'm coming for that ass. And then I'm gonna start imposing my game plan. I don't care that you work with Gordon Ryan. I don't care you flew out all these people. I've been working with the same motherfuckers since day one. I'm getting ready to bring it. That's my. You can see the passion coming out right now. If I was I wouldn't be 265. I'll be 235 fucking shredded 8-pack out. That's what would be my mindset. But let us get to the keys to victory for Jon Jones. Now, the biggest thing for Jon Jones is go out there and do what you do best, which is 1, be dynamic. We'll do 1 key to victory. Right, for Jon Jones is be dynamic, right? You have the kicks, he has the elbows, he has the wrestling, he has a submission game. I think the biggest thing, in my opinion, for Jon Jones, I think for him, it's about 1, making it to the fight healthy, 2, being motivated to fight, and 3, just not making a mistake. When you have an athlete like that who's so cerebral, who can do everything, I don't think there's keys to victory. It's like, just go out there and beat Jon Jones. That's all you got to do, because just go out there and beat Jon Jones encompasses all those key to victories that I just said for Stipe, right? Go out there, move around, see what's going on. Get your hands out there, use your elbows. He comes closer, wrestle, passes guard, submit him. So, but who do I have winning in the main event? Guys, I'm not even going to play fucking games. I believe Jon Jones is going to win this fight. Reason why is because Jon Jones, yes, he has been active due to an injury, right? Due to an injury. But I feel Jon Jones, when he's motivated and when he wants to fight, he brings his whole super team around him. He gets Gordon Ryan. He gets all these, all the team back together. He gets in the best shape. He diets, right? I just feel when you have somebody who's the best in the world, who can fight everywhere, it's a golden train, right? It's a golden train, and it's gone. And the next stop is against Stipe. And then I just feel Stipe hasn't been active enough to make me think that he can beat Jon Jones. So for that, I think Jon Jones is gonna finish him. I don't see this fight getting past 4 rounds. I think Jon Jones will finish him. Jon Jones can finish him on the feet. He can finish him on the ground. So it should be interesting to fight. So boys, if you guys enjoyed this final predictions, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell to know when we go live, and comment down below who do you guys think is gonna win, and what do you guys think of my predictions? Right? If you think I am, wrong, go against me. Go ahead. That's fine. I can't get them right all the time. I wish I had a crystal ball. That way I can make all the right picks. But as long as you make the right pick at the right price, which is PrizePick, we can all be sitting here happy. And make sure you guys come back here Saturday night as we will do the live instant reaction of UFC 309 Jones versus Stipe. And then it will be kind of interesting to see, depending on who wins, what do these two athletes do? What does Jon Jones and Stipe Miocic do after this fight, because you have Tom Aspinall, who is the interim champion of the world, which I would love to see Tom Aspinall versus John Jones or Tom Aspinall versus Stipe Miocic. As always, we will see you beautiful people at the next video.